You like
There
that?
we are. Now we're live.
Yes.
I mean, what else are people watching today?
You know, Richard Grisham is using the toolbox, so I'm going to as well.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
What's that? Is that going to cause us trouble? Are we going to get into mischief?
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh-oh. I think someone's waking up from his nap.
Oh, man. Now we're in trouble.
Uh-oh.
I did have a lovely
Yes.
power nap today. Yes, it was great.
Yeah. Yeah, so did Daddy.
The nice thing about having a 7-year-old, you can hand him a 3DS, and the next thing you know, you can lay down for 45 minutes. It's amazing.
It is nice.
Well, I saw on TV that if you want to, not have to worry about your kid for a while, you just leave him unsupervised in the bathtub.
Works for me.
There's a Super Bowl joke right there.
Oh, really?
See what I did? See what I did there? That was a timely, tasteless joke about murdering my child,
Okay,
which I would
good.
never do.
Time to
because I love
start.
him. Because I love him.
Hey.
Hello and welcome to episode 430 of the Player One podcast for Tuesday, February 3rd, 2015. I'm your host, Greg Seward. With me, as always, my co-host, a man who is feeling a little under the weather this week. I got to slow down a little bit. So I'm hosting instead of
Yeah.
him, Mr. Chris Johnston.
Yes, I'm a little under the weather. I've got a cold.
Fakest sounding fake cough ever.
Yeah, you like that?
And of course,
Yeah.
our host from the West Coast, Mr. Phil Theobald.
Hi, Greg Stewart.
Not to be outdone with the fake coughs.
That was a
Mr.
real
Theobald.
cough, but
Alright, is it? Okay.
no. Come on.
And the role of Mike Phillips this week being played by a tall, dark, handsome man, the internet's one and only Rich Grisham.
I am an Eagles fan, therefore this is my Super Bowl right here.
Yeah, so the Super Bowl's
Yes.
on. That's the reason we don't have Mike with us. He's at a Super Bowl party, as I hear the Americans will do.
Yeah.
I'm
It's
sure
our
there's
Boxing Day.
much beer and wings. But
he brought the chips. The chip.
the thing is, the thing is, though, this week what we're going to do, because we're recording... Nice.
Now, CJ
What?
stayed up all night thinking of that one, Greg, and you stepped on.
I'm sorry. Well, what I was going to say is, of course, it's halftime right now while we're recording this. So we're going to try to keep the show tight. We're going to try to get done before halftime's over. So we've only got like 3 hours.
Isn't Catherine Perry performing for the
Yes.
halftime show?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Young Miss Perry.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
We're competing with the Puppy Bowl, actually.
Tyler is there, and so is that guy that I don't know. He was in this really obscure British band years ago, but I think he had a breakout year this year when.
The dude from Wings?
Paul McCarthy, I think.
Yeah. He was in this.
he's in the crowd. So I mean, I
band
think he's a
called
bit of a
Wings.
spotlight bandit. Yeah, so he might
Yeah.
come down there and try to horn in on this.
Yeah.
Show. I hate
Yes.
Super Bowl halftime shows. Anyway, let's
How do you feel about
let's keep moving.
Canadian football halftime shows?
Oh man, they're the best because they're all done in
Yeah.
like sub-freezing temperatures. So that's a party.
Bring
Drunk.
back the XFL.
So, so let's get into some news and a lot of negative news in the video
Yeah,
game.
this was kind of a bummer week. This
Yeah.
week.
So of course I feel like the four of us are the four best people on the internet to talk about the social impact
Yeah.
of all this
Yeah.
negative news. So we'll start
Tell you
with
what, I've
one
had
of the
a
most.
great
What?
so far.
You've had a great year so far?
No, great week so
Oh, great
far.
week. Have you?
Yeah.
Oh, we can get into that too. Well, that's what I was
Not
talking about, the
really.
social impact of the most important stories. Like, I put up my very first unboxing video this week. Discuss.
Hey, here's my thoughts on that. The more time you waste with like, oh, here's a cardboard box. Oh, there's a shirt in it. That's the less time you're
wearing, by the
doing.
way.
That's the less time you're making Generation 16. So don't waste my time with crap that there are a million of on YouTube, and start cranking out those Gen 16s. Come on.
Man.
The
Come on.
real question is, what
That hurts
color were your fingernails for your first unboxing video?
Mm.
Are you talking about
Yeah.
the Disney collector?
Maybe.
Now,
Oh
what
my
is this?
God. My 2-year-old
Yeah.
navigated her way somehow on YouTube to the Disney Collector, and I cannot believe that person is that successful with those videos.
Making a little bit more money than the rest of us combined.
little bit.
Times 1,000.
I think she was. I think she was featured on like that top 10 earners list that was published last year.
Jeez.
Have you
How
ever
old's
seen
this
these videos,
kid?
Phil?
No.
Oh, she's not a kid.
My child, I am proud to say, when he's flipping around on YouTube, he ends up watching Devo and Residence videos. So, who's got the cooler kid in this scenario?
I think Greg.
This guy.
Yeah.
This guy. Now, how old is this person? This is an adult.
This is an adult, and all she does is open Kinder eggs and like just little capsule toys, basically. She opens
Right.
And it's literally 20-minute videos of her opening these things. You don't see anything else but her opening these things, and she tells you what they are, and she moves on to the next one. And that's the entire video every time, and she's making a stupid amount of money doing that.
Here, you can see this right here. This is a Lego bird. This is the latest in the Lego Ideas line. This is the Robin. You have the stand right there. You got the little plaque with the Latin name. It comes right off. For display purposes. There. So you can. It mounts right back on the perch like that. Pretty as the picture there, just as you do. So. Do I have to set up like a PayPal account now or something? Or how does
me of that video on from Tech TV, the guy who had the like.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
that's like a one of a kind.
Oh shit! I did he stop halfway through the shit and censor himself? I believe.
Yeah, he did.
Oh, man.
Yeah,
We'll have to link to that in the show notes.
We'll have to do that.
I have a variety of toys I can show off here, though, if that'll start making our show a little extra coin.
No,
probably not.
No.
You see, this is a Mega Man articulated model. Sorry, go on.
Okay. So I'll actually get some of the real news this week. So let's just go right down the list that CJ wrote for me. The first one on the list is so Joystick, the people that we sort of lambasted or how do you say that? Lambasted?
One of those.
For not doing review scores anymore. Now apparently is closing down.
Well, that's what you get.
Yep, we were right.
AOL shutting them down.
Yeah, that sucks.
Yeah, that's too bad.
It's
I'll be honest though, too bad for the people working there. I feel for them. Having been laid off 5 days ago myself, I know how much that sucks. But honestly, I haven't visited Joystick in so long.
Well, I don't know. Honestly, I don't know how any of these sites in this day and age make
any money. No.
Right. Joystick in particular, a good friend of mine works there, Mike Suzik, so I feel very bad for Mike. Because, of all these, sites and stuff that have shuttered over the last couple of years, that's really the first one that I've, personally known. But on the other hand, I mean, it's like I said, I don't know how any of these sites that have 10, 15, 20-person staffs can possibly generate enough revenue to.
No.
Well, when a woman opening Kinder eggs is making mad bank on YouTube.
I mean, that's. I know you're joking, but at the same time, you're making a really good point because none of these sites have figured out a way to deal with YouTube.
Yeah. With that,
I think at least one.
I wasn't
has.
joking as much as you think I was.
I think at least one has by doing very clickbait headlines.
Now, who's that?
Polygon. Yeah.
Who's that?
Yeah, I mean that's how it has changed, right? And the outlets that weren't doing that seem to be falling off.
I wonder how Giant Bomb is doing because I mean I think of all the big sites like Game Trailers, of course, is entirely based on video, and Giant Bomb's not far behind.
Right.
Or you could just do product placement like Phil's doing for us in the YouTube feed right now. But I wonder how they're doing. But otherwise, yeah, I mean the whole idea of getting rid of review scores to force people to read your text, your copy, was like the completely wrong direction to go. Not that that's the reason they're closing. Don't get me wrong. It was way too fast for that. But it's the I don't know, the written word doesn't mean so much anymore, and I think a lot of people don't really have faith in a lot of these writers at this point, and It's easy to turn on a YouTube video and have it playing in the background.
In the video games media business, it seems like you're either personality driven or you're not there anymore.
Right.
There's no in between.
Yeah, I really like what US Gamer is doing because
Mm-hmm.
they just have a lot of really cool features and a lot of really cool community pieces.
Yeah.
But I also kind of wonder how well they're doing with that.
Well, how many of them are there, though? There's like, what, 4? Maybe?
Yeah,
that's
there's not
fine.
very many writers, so
There's
that's probably good.
Yeah.
Hey, Jeremy Parishes, he's doing the Game Boy. Is it Game Boy World?
Yeah, Game Boy World.
Is that affiliated with the US Gamer, or is that his own? That's his own thing?
Yeah.
Okay.
He does
Because I finally.
He does that and like Metroidvania, and
Right.
I think GameSpite is just the blog now. It doesn't really do much, but there's
Right.
and the Anatomy series. I think he does all that, and it's all funded through a Patreon.
That's just all him personally. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, because I was gonna say I finally sat down and watched all those, and those were
They're good.
really good. Yeah, they really are. And I was going to praise US Gamer for that, but I guess I don't have to.
Now you can scorn them instead for not doing it.
Yeah, they should be paying Parish money for that stuff. So.
But so it's called Game Boy World, GameBoyWorld.com, run by Jeremy Parish, and it's a cron gaming series, just like Generation 16.
It's no Generation 16. Don't get me wrong.
If you are.
What the hell is on fire on that TV I'm seeing?
Katy Perry. Katy Perry's on fire. Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
It's actually the best halftime show I've ever seen.
I'm just seeing explosions and.
Yeah.
With the volume off, it is definitely very impressive. I don't know if it'd be so much so with the volume on, though.
So, moving on with the whole terrible job news, Sega. 300 layoffs at Sega. Although, happy to announce that friend of the show, Ethan Einhorn, was spared.
Yes, he was. Yeah, well, he's with the mobile division these days, so they were not affected, apparently.
They are apparently the company focus moving forward.
Yeah, exactly. So,
not sure how I feel about that, but
yeah.
Well, I know how I feel about it. I'm not very happy about it, but and of course the San Francisco office closed.
Yeah,
that's been there since I think '89.
Yep.
So they're moving to Southern California.
Yep.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah,
it's just more evidence that, and I think this has been talked about before, that AAA games are becoming
too risky.
And there's no middle ground, right, between low budget and high budget. So
yeah, we've talked about that a lot on this show, and it just continues on and on and on. Like you don't get those mid-tier releases anymore.
Yeah.
So
it's a shame.
Mobile's taken over the mid-tier release because
doesn't Ubisoft or Ubisoft? I can still never get it right.
You said it right the second time.
Okay. Ubisoft has done stuff like The Great War, Valiant Hearts, and Child of Light. I mean, I know they're a big publisher, but at least they're sort of keeping that $15 to $20 game alive, and I think that's some of the best stuff that anybody's doing these days.
Absolutely. I think we'll start seeing more of that stuff, not less, as big budget games become riskier and riskier to make.
I hope we do, and I think like we've said this before with that game that you love so much, and I can't remember the name of it, CJ, the Far Cry spin-off.
Blood Dragon.
Well, yeah, with Blood Dragon. I mean, I love the idea behind that. They basically spent their budget creating the AAA game,
right,
and then just took the tech and made something short and cool and fun.
Yeah.
So
I hope they do a sequel to that.
And didn't EA's CEO just in the last couple of days at their latest investor call say that they're also looking to significantly change the way they approach some of their games, like free to try? Which, as a sports game fan, terrifies me because they're already ultimate teaming that stuff to death. But if they go completely in that direction,
well, it makes money though, right?
It does. Well, right. And there's two arguments. There's the argument that Ultimate Team actually keeps sports game alive, and then there's the other ones that it's ultimately going to kill them. It's probably somewhere in between.
And you've got the two sort of bookend examples of that, which is like Madden and FIFA. You got to say Ultimate Team's doing the Lord's work there because those games are still full featured and they're still coming out. And then you've got the opposite end of the spectrum, which is NHL, which is all they kept as the Ultimate Team, and everything else is gone. Yeah. So,
I like the idea of free to try, if it is truly free to try. as like the EA Access model, you get 5 or 6 hours with the game, and then you have the option to buy it. I mean, that sounds to me just better than a demo. That's right up my alley. So hopefully that's where they're heading as opposed to the other model.
Yeah, for sure. I would love that. I would love to see that across a lot of games. Let me play a trial. But we've done that. We've been there before. I mean, Microsoft mandated that with the 360 for the Xbox Live Arcade stuff, right? 10 years ago, and then they went away from it, which is too bad because I feel like I would actually probably purchase more of these digital downloadable games if I had the ability to do a free trial on them more often.
Do you think it's a matter of the missing demo, or you think you would rather have like an hour of playtime with some more stuff?
I mean, as a consumer, I would rather have an hour with the full featured game, so I get a better idea of what I'm getting for my money. Speaking as a developer, I would rather do the free trial because then I don't need to create a demo. I don't need to polish a demo. I can just push the game out and put some kind of time limit trigger on it, and that's it. So then I can concentrate on making the best game. That's my opinion, but
sure.
So, yeah, I mean, some games they don't really get going until a few hours or more into them. So
True.
timed access could be tricky. So that's another.
And you've got the downside to demos and trials, which is if your game isn't all that great, you're letting everyone find that out for free.
There have been some really bad demos, though.
Oh God,
yeah.
In the since we started getting those on console, back in the Xbox 360 age, there have been some bad demos, like Blue Dragon. Remember that one?
Yep.
Terrible demo.
Mm-hmm.
Are demos even that important, though? I mean, and I'm not cynically, but I mean, I'm not exactly a YouTube guy constantly going there for information, but I mean, at this point, I know whether I'm going to enjoy a game based upon hearing the Player One podcast and a couple other shows I listen to, and if I'm really interested watching 5 or 10 minutes of YouTube footage. I mean, these days it's so much easier to figure out whether you're going to like a game or not, I think.
I think that's the key. The YouTube thing in particular is the key. Or like, say, game trailers, because I don't go to game trailers anymore for much besides the reviews, and it's not necessarily to hear what they think of the game. It's to get a bunch of footage from the game and just sort of see what it looks like and how it seems to play, and I feel like I get a lot more out of that. So demo definitely isn't as important, I don't think, anymore. Doesn't seem to be because you don't get very many of them anymore.
True.
Another headline. So this was a thing this week. So Nintendo, pretty famously, I think it was last year, the year before, stepped in and said basically anybody who's using Nintendo footage for Let's Play videos, we're collecting all the revenue for it. This past week, very magnanimously, they announced a cash share plan that you could sign up for, which basically, I think if it's a single video, they'll give you 60% of the revenue earned, and if it's an entire channel based on Nintendo footage, they'll give you 70% of revenue earned. So, curious what you guys think of that. We know what PewDiePie thinks of it. He made a statement earlier this week saying it was bullshit.
He doesn't like it. Then again, companies pay him to cover their games.
Mm-hmm.
If you're making a video and you're uploading it to a cloud that you don't pay for, and you are making a video of a game that somebody else made, to me it seems completely reasonable to share the revenue because you had absolutely nothing to do with most of that entire thing.
I agree with that.
To be fair to PewDiePie, though, he's the one screeching and yelling rape while that footage plays.
Now he doesn't do that anymore. He doesn't do that anymore.
Oh, really?
The yelling rape part.
Okay.
But his point was, and Rich, I tend to agree with you, to be honest, but his point, I think, was a good one, that people aren't tuning into his channel to watch the game he's playing. They're tuning into his channel to watch him play the game, and react to the game. So I think he there's a level of performance there that I think it's legitimate.
I think
that you would expect something out of it.
Which is
that's
why
true for him.
yeah, he should get some of the revenue. I'm not suggesting he should get none. But to me, it's a mix. And if you're using something, a game someone else has made, they have a legitimate claim to to some of the revenue.
Sure.
For me, I think Nintendo is maybe the first company to do this, but they're not going to be the last.
Well, they're not the only company to do this sort of thing, although a few other, and don't ask me to name them because I really don't know off the top of my head, but a few other companies have actually switched their stance on this because there were a few different places that were doing the same thing, saying, well, we're going to give you a copyright hit on your video. And what that means is that, like, because I've had this happen to me, when you upload a video, like I uploaded footage of King Kong earlier this week, and of course there's a video clip from the movie at the beginning of the game. Universal, I got a copyright hit on that from Universal because they own that footage. So then basically what happens is you accept that hit, your video is automatically monetized, so ads will run on it, but you don't get any of the revenue, period. All the revenue goes to the copyright owner in that situation. So yeah, I mean, for Let's Play videos, I tend to agree. Like, you're using footage of a game that somebody else owns. I think they deserve to get some or all of the revenue on that. I think it gets a little more murky when you're talking about reviews.
Yeah.
Or say, like what I'm doing with Generation 16. Or say
right,
what
you're not doing a pure Let's Play video.
Right. But the thing is the way that the YouTube system works, you will still get copyright hits on those videos.
Sure.
So if music gets captured, they decide, well, this is our music, then you'll get a copyright hit, and you really can't fight it. You can, but if it's a legit copyright claim, 9 times out of 10 you're going to lose. So it is a little murky.
I mean, I think that it's very interesting because the technology has moved so quickly that nobody really understands what to do. I mean, I've always been amazed that, I can, make a show, just by contacting a couple people through Twitter and then interviewing people, and then 2 hours later I've got a show that I've been able to put out there that's completely dependent upon Libsyn and Skype. And quite often, either Electronic Arts or 2K, for making the games that I'm talking about. Like, there's so many different things that need to work that just my little show to go out there, it's amazing that all of those different parties allow you to do that kind of stuff and don't just take all the money for themselves.
Right. Yeah, that's a good point. It's a lot of people do take that for granted, I think. I know when the YouTube copyright hit stuff, the bots thing came in, people were screaming about it for a while, but at the same time, YouTube has to protect itself. Google has to protect itself. Because they'd be the first people the copyright holders will go after, right?
Right. Yeah. Right. But there's also free advertising, too. Like, a lot of these games are getting exposure, so, I can completely agree with, or I can see the other side, too. That's why there's... It's so hard. If you're the owner of that IP, I can only imagine the discussions that go on at the boardroom level. Is this good for us? Is this bad for us? Should we claim it? Should we not? We're going to look terrible if we claim it, but if we don't, other people are making money off of our IP. It's just craziness.
And I think, and it's funny because it also depends on sort of the size of the company you are. Because if you're, say, a Microsoft, is it worth claiming it? You're such a gigantic company. Is it worth claiming it? But at the same time, if you don't, are you setting a precedent?
Right.
You're opening the door to let anyone use your copyrighted material for anything, and it's harder to prosecute anyone that you want to because you've let it go so many times. But then on the flip side, like if I'm an indie developer and somebody like PewDiePie plays my game, well, great, then I get tons of free advertising, which is awesome. Sure. But at the same time, I'm looking at the millions of hits he's getting and thinking, wow, I'd love to have some of that money. Hopefully you make it up in sales, but who knows. Anyway, speaking of poor sales, let's talk about the Vita.
Oh, yes.
So, did you know the Vita had apps?
Really? I tried that Nier app a couple of times.
Once.
Nobody ever figured out what Nier does, right?
No.
No.
I gave it a couple tries and just could not for the life of me figure out what was happening with it.
No.
Same here.
Well, it's going away.
It's going away.
Worry about that very much longer.
The map.
Oh, no.
the map app is going away, which means Nier is going away, and also the YouTube app is going away, which is a little bit strange. But I'm assuming that Sony must pay some kind of royalty to Google to have a YouTube app on their system that I'm guessing isn't worth it for the Vita at this point.
Yeah. Yeah. Also, upkeep of it if there's any problems,
True. Yeah. I never thought about that. You need a team on there for that stuff.
Right.
I mean, I can only speak for myself, but I've had a Vita since the day it got launched, and I have never once, other than for 10 confusing minutes of my life, used any of those apps.
Yeah. So, I moved them all into a folder called garbage.
Jesus.
That's just hurtful.
The Vita is wonderful at games. It's a beautiful system. I play it every day and could care less about any of the apps on there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree with most of that, except the part where you said I play it every day. I barely turn mine on.
Well, once Minecraft showed up, the Vita got even more popular than it already was.
There you go.
Speaking of Minecraft, I finally relented and got my son Minecraft on the Xbox One. It's the first version of Minecraft we've ever owned. And I want to ask you, Phil, because I know you play it, and Rich, you play it as well. If, hypothetically, I was to decide to play this game, what mode should I play? I know I'm not going to play creative mode because that's not my thing.
Well, then
adventure or survival. What is the difference between adventure and survival? Phil, your perplexed look makes me think you don't know.
I have no idea what adventure mode is.
Okay.
I've never heard of adventure. The only
well, then you've been no help.
Creative and survival.
That's
a thing in the Xbox One version.
Is it? That's not something I've seen in either. I'm not paying attention to the other versions, or that's like something in the Xbox version.
What's funny is when my son first started playing Minecraft, he got a little freaked out by the zombies in survival mode, so we quickly pivoted over to creative mode, and that's all he played for a while. And now he just loves survival mode because he's figured out how to build portals that let you go into the Ender and battle the Ender Dragon. And
yes.
That's his favorite thing.
So According to the Minecraft wiki, adventure mode is a mode intended for player-created maps by limiting some of the gameplay in Minecraft in which players cannot directly destroy most blocks to avoid spoiling adventure maps. So it's like that's
so fun.
Creator created. Yeah, don't waste your time with that. Go to survival. Play survival.
Okay. That's what I'll do if I actually take the time to play it, which I probably won't.
Well, because survival it's a game. Like there's a mission and you have to do.
Is there an ending to it?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Really?
Yeah. There's the Ender Dragon that Rich just mentioned is the final boss.
Okay.
I will probably never see the Ender Dragon, to be honest, just because my thing with that game is just going around and exploring and building stuff. So.
Okay.
Yeah, it's the game. That's what you make of it. So.
Well, I feel like the $20 I gave Microsoft must have paid for like a quarter of a floor tile and not just $70 million home. So.
There you go. It's a handful of M&Ms from his candy wall.
So I gotta ask: Has your son tried it yet? I mean, did he?
Oh yeah, he's played it for a few hours now. I mean, he's been dying to play that for so long, and we just waited and waited. I mean, he just likes to get in there and wander around.
Yeah.
You know, like we were playing creative mode for a while, and he found it really boring because he hasn't really figured even out like the crafting or anything yet. Yeah. But then we went into survival mode, and he just loves wandering around and fighting with spiders and zombies and Endermen and all that stuff. So,
well, the console versions are nice in terms of the crafting, just because it's more or less automated. You know, the PC version, you actually have to kind of know what the recipes are and drag and drop items into the little crafting table grid in the proper patterns in order to build things, whereas the console versions, you're just selecting them from a menu. So.
They dumb it down for us console folk.
Yeah,
that's right.
Yep, PC Master Race.
Now
that we're talking about games, let's move on to what you've been playing.
Okay.
Rich, since you're a guest and you haven't been playing anything new, let's start with you.
Well, I finished Far Cry 4. credits rolled.
Nice.
I don't finish a whole lot of games, particularly games like that. And CJ, I know you've been playing some Far Cry 4.
Yes.
Have you made it to the end or close to the end, or did you get bogged down in typical Far Cry style?
No, I'm nowhere near the end, I don't think. But yeah, I'm just messing around with missions. I'm not really even worried about getting to the end, really.
Yeah, I kind of got to the point where it became clear to me that if I didn't start down the path of wrapping this sucker up, it would stay in that state. But I think I'm technically right now I'm at over 30 hours and it's 61%. So I feel like I more than got my money's worth. I love the game. I really enjoyed, particularly at a certain point in time where you get to complete your house and then you've got a place for your helicopter, so you can always just go back there and then get around. I found the last couple of big set pieces were very interesting. You get to combine all the different weapons and stuff that you learned. And the only thing that I thought was kind of weird is I didn't really, I'm not obviously a big trophies guy, but like, the Shangri-La missions, I completed all 5 of those and got the mural on my house, and nothing happened. I figured that would be a big to-do. And even at the end, when after I finished the story mode, and then you have to go take care of Paganman's Fortress, and I did that, and then there was no like, big recognition for that or anything. So I was a little I just figured there would be a little more to it when you did those things. But overall, I mean, 30 hours of Far Cry 4, I enjoyed a lot of it. It definitely kind of near the end, I was glad that I was able to wrap it up. But yeah, Far Cry 4 from the get-go, I really enjoyed that immensely. A lot of fun, really well done.
Yeah, still a great game.
Yeah.
I still need to play it.
Another game I'm playing a lot of is Little Big Planet 3.
It's like Mike's here.
I play it co-op with my son, and it is so great for co-op. I mean, you just at any point in time, anybody can hop in and play. I mean, you guys know about Little Big Planet. It's especially on the PlayStation 4. It is absolutely beautiful. It just looks so good. It is such a happy game. I really enjoy the characters, the different characters, Toggle and Swoop, the different ways that you interact on the different types of levels. I've never played Little Big Planet other than dabbling in it here or there, and we have just, but the two of us just absolutely love it. It's great. The music, the art, the complexity. It's a pretty tough game, particular. I mean, sometimes it takes my son and I a couple, 2 or 3 tries over a few days to really take care of beating the levels. And but now that we've unlocked all the characters, it's a wonderful experience, co-op especially. I cannot say enough good things about Little Big Planet 3, and I don't think the jumps are that floaty.
Whatever.
But I can't recommend that enough. It's a wonderful game, really good, and it also works great on remote play too, which
something else I don't do anything anymore. I don't ever do anymore.
Yeah, I don't do it much, but we did. We gave it a shot. But yeah, Little Big Planet 3 is spectacular. It's so good, and just really innovative and really inventive. And another game that I'm playing is, I missed that.
Sorry, Phil was It was just for the YouTube watchers.
Okay. Fire Emblem: The Sacred Stones. Did any of you guys ever?
The old GBA game?
Yeah.
Nice.
I don't know how. I guess it's through the Ambassador program. I certainly don't remember buying it. Okay.
Yeah,
but
it was an Ambassador game.
I was traveling this week, and I had sort of run out of stuff to do on my 3DS, and it was sitting there. And I'd never played a Fire Awakenings game, ever. And just started it up. And
how about a Fire Emblem game? Did you ever play one of those?
I say Fire Awakenings? I forget. I love it. No, it's fine. I've never played one of these games, and I love it. I think it's great. I'm 6 or 7 levels in. It's ridiculous in a lot of ways, but I'm shame on me for never trying these games, because I can tell that I'm going to, as soon as I'm done with this one, everyone tells me the one to get is Fire Emblem Awakenings. I don't know if that is the case, but yeah, I really like for as cheesy and silly as all of the story mode stuff is, just once you get into the battles and you figure out which guys to take and how to approach it, and when you lose a guy, that guy's gone forever. That whole trying to
I
prevent
turned that off.
happening. Oh, really? I didn't know you
Yeah.
could do that.
I'm way too big a pansy to do that.
I've definitely restarted a bunch of levels. I mean, it doesn't take but one bad move, and then
Nope.
boom, all of a sudden, like, wait, I did not know that was going to happen. No, but yeah, it's an old game, but it does a lot right, particularly when you get down to the battles and the tactics. It's scratching that itch, and I've been playing it pretty much every chance I can. And my son has been watching me play it, so now he's into it too. So yeah. That was a weird one that popped up, but I'm digging it. It's really good, really good.
Cool. CJ, what have you played this week?
What? You're gonna go to me next?
Oh yeah.
I've probably been playing some stuff that you guys have been playing too. First of all, Nintendo released a codenamed Steam demo.
So you can buy Steam games on your 3DS.
Yep.
That is not
pretty awesome.
No. This is a 30-use demo of the upcoming Intelligent Systems comic book styled tactical RPG strategy game, whatever you want to call it, with figures of American history in London with some steampunk stuff thrown in there. It's really kind of a crazy cuckoo setup there.
Yes, it's Valkyria Chronicles.
Yeah, it is basically Valkyria Chronicles.
Yeah, with a not as good visual style.
And so I'm curious.
And crappy camera. So
I was going to say that was the next thing I was going to say. So yeah, for anyone who's never played Valkyria Chronicles, so basically Codename Steam it's a strategy RPG. Although in the demo you only start out playing as one unit, one player, and then you build your team from there. But it's played from the viewpoint, the vantage point of those units. So you don't get like a big overhead map. It's all about surveying your surroundings and seeing who can see
over the shoulder.
Yeah, it's all over the shoulder, exactly. Yeah. But the camera control is done via dragging your finger around the touchscreen, and I'm wondering if they changed that in.
Well, you can also use the face buttons to turn the character around and look around. You don't have to just use the.
I know that, but I still want to freak.
Okay.
Yeah, so. It's not good.
Wouldn't it give you too much advantage to have that?
Well,
to be able to look at things.
Yeah, look around.
No. Okay, wait a minute. Whoa. Back up. I'm not asking for something over and above what they're offering now. What I'm asking for is a better interface.
Okay.
Yeah,
and what I was getting at is the new 3DS has the little nubbin.
Right.
I'm curious if that controls the camera on the new 3DS.
I hope it does.
Probably.
Yeah.
I hope it does.
Because it controls like doo-doo on the regular.
It is, and it's such a shame because I actually like everything else about that demo.
Yeah.
But the camera control is god awful.
It really is.
Yeah. I stopped playing it.
Oh, did you really? You didn't have? Did you even get as far as getting your second character?
No.
Oh, that's too bad.
Is it though?
John Henry.
It is. It's John Henry.
I got a little ways into it and said this is like Valkyria Chronicles except uglier and it plays like ass because of the camera. So why don't I just go play? Why don't I love Valkyria Chronicles.
Okay.
Why don't I just go play Valkyria Chronicles? It's this game but better.
Fair enough. But I personally, especially once I only played as far as having John Henry for a couple of rounds, and but I liked the fact that his everything is governed by Steam. So in every turn you have a certain amount of Steam points you can use. So movement takes a certain amount, like you move a certain distance and that takes a certain amount of Steam, and you fire weapons and that takes a certain amount of Steam. And with the main character, who I forget who the main character is in the demo, but you learn, I think, on the second level that if you save enough Steam for at least one shot, they have what's called an Overwatch ability, which means that if an enemy comes into your sort of view and in range during their turns, your character will automatically fire on them.
Yeah.
which is
that's
pretty
great.
cool. And I'm thinking, okay, that's neat. I wasn't expecting that. And then on top of that, when you get to John Henry, he doesn't have that ability. So some characters are able to use the Overwatch, some characters aren't. But he has the ability to, like, his weapon it lobs grenades, and it has a big area effect, and it costs a lot more to use. So, like, already in the demo, you had to get into this whole strategy where you sort of had this one character who you had to be very aggressive with to make him useful, and then you could use the other character with the Overwatch ability to sort of not necessarily hang back, but just cover him during the enemy turns.
Yeah.
I really like that a lot. The demo turned around in the game.
They encourage you to be aggressive using John Henry, right, to clear the way.
Yeah.
I made it to, I think, the 3rd level of the prologue, which I think is further than you, Greg. But I've died twice now in that because they have. It's not just find the enemies on the map and kill them. They respawn and also show up behind you to deal with as well. So that gets quite a bit more difficult. But I'm having fun with it.
Did it
Let's
change your mind on the game enough? Did you pre-order this game?
No.
Okay. Did it change your mind enough that you're going to buy this game?
I might buy it. I don't know. I have to pass this 3rd stage of the prologue before I decide whether or not. Because I'm not really a strategy RPG fan. Mostly because I like to go in guns blazing and not deal with consequences.
You are John Henry.
So it's a little bit different than the playstyle I normally take. And I liked Valkyria Chronicles, but I only played a little bit of it. I didn't super get into it. So yeah, we'll have to see. I'll wait for reviews on this one. And since I buy digitally anyway, I'm not gonna worry about the limited edition Majora's Mask freebie that they're offering for the pre-order of this one.
Yeah, I don't care about that either. But this game was not even on my radar. I mean, I saw it, when they showed it on the Nintendo Direct a while back, and it's like, that's funny, haha. There's Abraham Lincoln, and you're playing as a bunch of American historical characters in steampunk London.
Yeah.
But
what a weird concept.
Yeah, this demo changed my
concept
mind.
though.
I would play this game. I don't know that I'll run out and buy it at full price. But I'll be watching it to see if it had, Nintendo games always get a price drop pretty quickly, right? So
right.
Anyway, yeah, it's if you haven't yet, check out that demo. It's pretty cool, especially if you're a strategy RPG fan. I mean, Phil's right. Valkyria Chronicles is great, and if you've played that, you might not be totally crazy about this, but try it out anyway.
What can you play Valkyria Chronicles on right now? Like if I want
PC, PSP, and the Vita for Valkyria Chronicles 2, and it was originally a PS3 game.
Yeah, the first one. Yeah, the first one's PS3 and Steam, and the PC port is really, really quite good. Mm-hmm. So and you can get it for cheap as well.
As I'm reminded every time I boot up Fire Emblem: The Sacred Stones, that is an Intelligent Systems game.
Yes,
correct. Yep.
So I think
I like good stuff.
Yeah. I also
Valkyria Chronicles on Steam. Norse. You can usually find it for like $10 though on sale. Go on.
All right. I'm also playing Grim Fandango Remastered.
I'm interested in this.
Me too.
I have never played Grim Fandango. I am not really an adventure gamer at all.
We know.
Yep, I think we've covered this.
I think we have covered that plenty. But Grim Fandango has a really good pedigree behind it, of course, and it's often cited as one of the very best adventure games of the 90s. So I figured, why the heck not? Good a time as any to hop into it. So
how indifferent are you towards it?
I actually really like it. I like the humor in the game quite a bit. The only thing that's really messing me up is, the puzzles.
Puzzles? Old adventure games. I love it.
Yeah. So, what I've been doing is I'll play up to a point, and if I get stuck for more than 5-10 minutes, I will pull out a FAQ and scroll down to the point I'm at and read like a couple of lines, and then go back to the game. And playing that way has done me pretty well. I'm enjoying it.
That's on the PS4 and the Vita, right? Are you playing it on both? Or?
Yes.
I'm playing it on PS4. It is on both, yeah.
It's cross-buy.
Yep.
Cross-buy. As well, so yeah.
Don't you get the PS3 version also?
I don't know. It's also on Steam.
Yeah.
It's also on. It's on everything.
Also on, yeah. That's such a good game. Grim Fandango is very good.
I'm curious, Phil, because I know you played Grim Fandango when it was new.
Yes.
So what do you think as far as the remaster goes? Like, are you happy with what they've done? Did they do enough?
They did as much as I would have expected to. I actually there was a thread on the NeoGAF. Someone thinking that the remastered version was lazy and that they
really
should have but I think that this person was expecting like full on like HD remake, like we're remodeling all the characters and making drawing new textures and everything like that. So I think they were looking for like a full on remake as opposed to just
probably wouldn't have been commercially viable to do that.
Well, no, of course it wouldn't. Of course it wouldn't. I am stunned that we got this, and quite frankly, I'm stunned that we're getting Day of the Tentacle as well. But no, I think it's great. I just, that particular game has been, inaccessible for so long.
Yeah,
the legit copies of it are horribly expensive, and I believe it's fairly difficult to emulate, or it doesn't emulate. Like I know there's the Scum emulator that can play a lot of LucasArts classic games, and I don't believe Grim Fandango works with that one.
That wouldn't surprise me.
No.
Well, just because Grim Fandango was fully 3D, right?
Right. Yeah.
So
yeah. But yeah, so just to be able to have that game available legitimately for a very good price is fantastic.
Yeah,
so yeah,
15 bucks.
I'm loving it.
Yeah, it's $15, right?
Yeah,
great price. Really great price.
It's a fantastic game. I'm playing my way through it. I'm kind of taking my time with it, and man, I the voice work in that game is fantastic.
I've heard that.
It is.
Yeah.
I'll agree.
Yeah, it's really, really good stuff.
Have you checked out any of the director commentary?
No, not yet.
No, you're gonna do another playthrough and listen to
probably, that? Yeah. That's the intention. So, yeah, very, very pleased with that, and like I said, I'm playing through this and just kind of experiencing it again has got me even more hyped up for Day of the Tentacle, which it's I'm not going to say it's a better game than Grim Fandango, but it's a one of my personal favorites out of that original batch of LucasArts adventure games. So
it's so cool that we're getting these personally, because I mean, I've said this on the show before, I'm a big adventure game fan, but I was totally Sierra all the way.
Right.
But I've experienced the LucasArts games over the years, but I've never played Grim Fandango.
Okay.
I've never played Day of the Tentacle.
Wow.
And the other one I really hope they end up doing is Full Throttle.
Oh yeah,
I would love to experience Full Throttle.
Same here. Full Throttle is such a blast, and you know what? In all honesty, just as an adventure game, Full Throttle is probably one of LucasArts' weaker ones.
Really?
Just in terms of the puzzles, and yeah, it's got some kind of awkward action sequences in the middle of it that don't really work, where you're like actually riding the motorcycle and stuff like that. But it's made up for just by the characters and the story and the personality. It's despite gameplay and puzzle-wise being one of the weaker LucasArts games, it's still one of my favorites just because all the story aspects really outweigh it. So
it seems like that's the case for a lot of people. That game is well loved.
Yeah, it is. It's a lot of fun, and so did you You probably didn't play the original Maniac Mansion either, did you?
I played the NES version.
Oh, okay.
That's the way I played that game.
What I'm really curious about is that the original Maniac Mansion is actually hidden inside Day of the Tentacle, so I'm hoping that they continue that as well.
Very cool.
Yeah, there's some part in Day of the Tentacle where you're in a room, and I think you can find like a Commodore 64 shoved away in the corner, and if you use the Commodore 64, it loads up the original Maniac Mansion, and you can play through the whole game in its entirety. Nice. So yeah. So did you get Grim Fandango, Greg?
I have not gotten it yet because it's the next game I'm gonna play, but I'm not buying it until I'm ready to play it.
Okay, gotcha.
Right behind Sunset Overdrive.
Right behind King Kong.
Sunset Overdrive.
Which you can streaming
every week. How much pleading does CJ have to do to get you to just take the cellophane off that game, Greg?
Nope, not yet. Not yet. You're laughing at me now, but when that game suddenly goes way up in price, I'll be the one laughing. I'll have a copy. CJ, you got one more game on your list there.
I do. Yeah, I played a little bit of Idarb.
just a smidge.
Just a touch.
Yeah.
Not really.
Oh my God, Micah, shut up about Idarb. Jeez. I can't log on to Twitter these days without you. Idarb this and Idarb that. Kidding, Mike. Yeah. Kidding, Mike. I love you.
So the Xbox One version of this is free for people who have a gold account.
Now, is this an Xbox One exclusive?
I don't know. I don't know.
Because I would like to play it.
Xbox game.
What's that?
It's an ID at Xbox game, right?
Oh, is it? Okay.
I don't know. I think for now, anyway, it's Xbox only. But that could change.
Done by Other Ocean, another Atlantic Canada development house.
Yep.
So Idarb, it's just it's a sports game, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah, pixel art sports game.
Yep. What do you think?
Explain it to me. I don't.
I played it.
So, yeah, you pick a team, and you basically have to get the ball in the goal, as players sometimes want to do in sports games.
What's the single is the worst color commentator.
The single instruction is something like "Do not miss goal to win" or something like that.
Right, it's something ridiculous like that. Yeah, I guess it takes hashtags from
Pong instructions.
To run is like a little ticker across the bottom, and images as well, and you can create characters in Idarb and share them with the QR codes, and there's a lot of stuff here.
Yeah, so it seems like a totally fan-driven game, pretty much.
Yeah.
The basic game, it's pixel art. The basic game is it's a 2D. I think it's up to 4 players, 2 players per side. Red and blue or whatever, and
2-on-2, you could say.
It's basically a platformer. It's a platformer with a goal at each end of the level, and you grab the ball and try to shoot it into the opposing goal. Yeah, and there's a lot of controls. And a lot of pop culture references in there. I think you'd actually really like, Phil. Like that Pong one being a good example, but also like the announcers are constantly just rattling off movie quotes.
True.
Yeah, there's some weird things I don't understand. I mean, they've got what I assume are supposed to be the equivalent of advertising on the sidelines at a football game or something like that, but they've got 2 screens at the bottom of the level that are constantly flipping through different logos.
Yeah.
And actually, back in my play, the podcast is one of the logos that flips through once in a while. Yeah.
Yep.
Nice.
But yeah, like you can create a bunch of different characters. It's got a character editor.
Where's our ad? Our ad in Idarb.
Well, we didn't bring Mike on the show.
I used to work with Micah for crying out loud.
I suggest you put in a call, my friend. I wouldn't start by telling you to play this game yet, but
But you know what? Chris Charles should send me an Xbox One. Solution to that.
Disclosure. But it's mostly
full disclosure. Send me a free system.
Yeah, you can play couch multiplayer. which I haven't done because I only have one Xbox One controller, or you play online. And so I played a game online today, and I got to see the cool Rage Quit screen.
Yeah, well, I saw your tweet about that. What happens?
Yeah.
What is this about?
Basically, I was leading like something like 20-2 in the third quarter, and of course we started and the guy wasn't moving. I'm like, he's quitting. He's definitely quitting. And all of a sudden the screen flashes and goes white, and then it kind of looks like I don't know how to. It looks like a scribble. It's a little animation, but it's just an extremely angry face, like about 4 different frames of it, like a pencil scribble. And it just says on the bottom of the screen, "Rage Quit." So, yeah,
that's awesome.
It's a really fun little game, and it's like it doesn't take very long to play. There's a halftime arcade game that you play that's basically combat with ricocheting bullets.
Okay.
But it's just a cool little game. It's really neat.
Yeah.
Can you play it against the computer, or is it multiplayer?
No.
It does not have AI.
Local only.
No. It's local only, yeah.
Okay.
Or online.
Or online, right?
Well, so yeah,
multiplayer.
multiplayer.
I had that. Good thing I have a 7-year-old running around. I could just. Sit down and play.
Yeah.
I wish I had another controller because I think my kids would really dig it. It's really easy to play. It's literally just it's platformer controls, running and jumping, and then I think all you use are the two bumpers to like just sort of push people around and grab the ball away from each other and things like that. And then there's I don't know how you get penalties, but you can get penalties in the game, and you get stuck in what's in a penalty box under the level. But the thing is that if you jump, you bump into the floor of the level, and you actually send up a little spike every time you do that.
Nice.
So like if the play is right above you, you can jump and hit people with the spikes while you're in the penalty box. But yeah, it's a really cool little game. Definitely worth trying. And I think the official release day is actually today.
I have never heard of this before right now, so I gotta definitely go.
And you're on Twitter?
not as shocked as I should be, evidently.
The only thing outstripping Idarb on Twitter right now is Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So. And maybe Joystick. Anyway.
That's all I've been playing.
Phil.
Yeah.
Got a couple other games in here.
Grim Fandango, Conan Steam. We already covered that. I picked up Mike Phillips.
You picked up Mike Phillips?
I picked up Mike Phillips. No, he has been mentioning Framed for iOS. Hideo Kojima's Game of the Year, I believe. Is that what they're selling that as? That went free on the iPhone.
For a day, about a week ago.
Was it just for a day?
Yeah.
Well, I snagged it.
It was for Australia Day, in fact.
Ah, well, crikey, mates, and a good day to you all.
Crikey, mates, what a deal.
Well, let me tell you, I was Yahoo serious about wanting to play that game.
Oh, God.
So I snagged it for free, and it is a neat little game. It's a very neat little game. Mike's described it on the show before, right?
Would you say that is worth $4.99?
Quite possibly, because it's a very clever little iOS game. I've not seen anything like it. Each screen is presented in a series of comic book panels, and the idea is you're playing as like a spy type character, and he starts up in the very first frame on the screen, and you need to rearrange the panels so that he has a clear path to move through all the frames until you get to the last frame. And at least so far, you're able to. I can rotate frames around. I can move frames around. You can also rotate them on a pivot point. So just to make it so, like, he's going down a stair. He'll run to a staircase, and he'll go up a staircase, but then that might put him in the path of a guard, so you have to rotate the panel with the staircase, and now he's going down, so he's on a lower level and avoids the guard in the next frame, stuff like that. And it's a very clever little game, especially when it does have all the really nice animation. There's all these different animations for when you screw up and send your guy into the path of danger, so... Yeah, it's a neat. If you can get it for free, I recommend it. But yeah, I don't know. $5, yeah, it might be worth it. It's a very solid game. Certainly better than what I've come to expect from iOS games after playing some of these other. There's one game where you're just like tapping balloons.
Here we go.
And that's like just what is that? Or Robot Unicorn Attack. Basically, it's better than any game CJ's worked on. I guess is what I'm saying.
It's going right.
Yeah,
this is the part that gets edited out of the show. CJ's still editing this week,
This is why you tune in live, folks. No. But it is. It's a pretty cool game. So I would check it out. I do recommend it. I also picked up Nintendo's Electronic Shop, available now on their Game Boy line of video game systems. Gunman Clive 2.
This is one of those new franchises Nintendo never does, right?
Yeah. Well, it's not a Nintendo game.
Don't they publish it though?
No.
No, I thought they did. I'm sorry.
No. You're thinking of Metroid.
Well, that destroyed my joke.
You're thinking of those armadillo games. That's
it's probably what you were thinking of, isn't it?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Because that's also in the Old West.
Yes, it is. No, Gunman Clive, I believe originally was an iOS game, right?
Correct.
And and then eventually came to Steam and 3DS. And as far as I know, the sequel is only on 3DS at the moment. I don't know if that's
I think you're
accurate.
right.
Yeah, I don't know if there are plans to port it to anything else, but the first one is a really good game. Kind of simplistic Mega Man inspired shooty platformer type game with the set in the Old West. Obviously, has a really neat visual style, very sketchy hand drawn look. We do. But this isn't a puzzle platformer, though. That's the thing.
No, but it's still got the interesting art style. So
it does. Well, like I said, it's very much kind of looks like a rough sketch the way it's animated. So it's really quite cool. And second game continues it. It's a beautiful little game. Looks really nice in 3D. I've only played a few levels of it so far, but just some really good platforming. It's pretty difficult, actually, from what I played so far, so that's kind of cool. And there's even a little kind of afterburnery type segment in there as well, so kind of switched up the action from the shooty to a little flyy shooty. So also a fun game, and that was like, what, $3-4 maybe? Something like that. Well,
you're
worth
so
it.
frugal this week, Phil.
Well, a friend of mine lost his job this week, so I'm trying not to spend a whole lot of money. So
I appreciate that.
That's what I do.
All right, let's do some tweets. I got nothing to add to what
Yeah.
you've been playing. I've played mostly Idarb and one of the other games we talked about earlier.
Peter Jackson's King Kong, the official movie of the game.
You can go to my
Game
YouTube
of the
channel.
movie.
You can go to my
Game of the
YouTube
movie.
channel and watch that.
Greg, did you finish that game?
No.
Okay.
I got laid off this week. I haven't had time to play video games.
That was a 1,000-pointer for me earlier.
Yeah,
I think
same
it's 1,000
here.
pointer for everybody, isn't it?
Yeah.
I got my 1,000 points for King Kong.
Darn right. And it stayed probably, it might be one of the only, if not the only 1,000-point games I have now that I think about it. There
Wow.
weren't very many of those that I had.
You should pick up Sonic's Ultimate Genesis Collection.
Should pick up Avatar.
I do
Yeah.
own that game.
Do you? That's a pretty easy.
That's not that easy because you have to be okay at columns, and nobody's okay at columns.
PS3 though. I think about it now.
I am the first person on the planet to achieve 1,000 points in Sonic's Ultimate Genesis Collection. Thank you very much.
You don't count.
Thank you
All right.
very much.
The real
Thank you.
hacker alias, the real Devance asks, if you could pick a game franchise for Telltale to turn into an episodic adventure, which would you choose?
Nintendo's Gunman Clive.
There you go.
I would love a Sopranos.
Oh, that'd be interesting.
Now, is this game franchise or just overall franchise?
It says game franchise.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Game franchise.
I interpret it as
There have been Soprano games, so
Yes, there have been.
Nothing good. I always thought they could do a good job with Lost. That'd be fun.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Friggin' Lost. It'd be the first time anyone did a good job with Lost.
Snap.
I mean, if you think like Lost or The Sopranos, those franchises that have so many different characters, you can imagine just the different directions they could go. And you wouldn't even necessarily have to inhabit, one of the real people. You could just be somebody new to the franchise that would then start interacting with all of it. There's a lot of ways you could go with something like that.
Yeah, see, that's the thing with me. Like, I think you need to have a world, like a very well realized world that you can sort of create. I haven't seen what they've done with Game of Thrones yet because I'm waiting for it to, the third episode's about to come out, so they should be dropping that down to about $2 for a season pass anytime now.
Yeah.
But 4 times, and then he took a step.
I would love to see them do something. I mean, this isn't a game franchise either, but the first thing that pops to mind for me is Blade Runner. I'd love to see a video, like another adventure game in the Blade Runner universe. The official Blade Runner game was really good back in the day, but it's not something you see very often anymore. And are they not? They're rebooting the movie, right? Like, is there not a new Blade Runner movie coming out or something like that?
I think there is, actually. Yeah.
So I think it'd be a great time for Telltale to grab that. I think they could do a really good job with it. Because, I mean, again, it's a very well-realized universe. So, yeah.
There you go.
You got anything, CJ?
For that, I'm going to say Bubsy.
Okay, good. Hacker Alien Film Skywalker.
Fully realized world. Right?
Any chance of a Player One podcast / CAGcast crossover in the future?
Yeah, there's always a possibility. We had Wombat on as a guest once.
I don't see the need.
Long time.
I don't see the need to let them ride on our coattails.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what it would be.
We're a little too big for that.
No, it'd be a lot of fun to have those guys on sometime. I listen to their show every week.
Yep.
Sometimes fast forward through the Nintendo talk.
And hey, one of them is the world's biggest Baller Beats fan, so I love those guys.
Hey, there you go.
Right. Let's get Shipwreck on here.
Yep, Shipwreck needs to come on. We could do it. We could do 2 hours on Baller Beats. From a fan's perspective and a designer's perspective.
That's right.
How would it not work? Hacker Alias Beard the movie. What is your favorite jump the shark moment in any game, movie, or TV show? And did those moments make you like them any better?
There was this episode of Happy Days where
Hey.
I don't know. What's a
Really?
video gaming jump the shark moment?
Yeah.
Sonic Adventure 2.
What was the actual moment there?
No, that was a killer whale.
That was
jumping
that
No, that was Sonic Adventure 1.
That's right.
Hey, he
I
does
thought
that
the
in
first
every
time-
Sonic. What are you talking about?
I figured the first time you controlled Rogue the Bat was kind of the beginning of the end.
I mean, is it, don't people talk about the
Rouge, wasn't it?
with the Sons of Liberty, the Metal Gear game, where all of a sudden you're
naked?
a completely different character. And
They're taking over his rating.
That was brilliant.
I actually did not mind that.
I thought that was brilliant too.
Yeah, I liked the switch. I thought that was really well done.
I didn't like the character. I mean, I wasn't happy that I wasn't playing as Solid Snake, but it was brilliantly executed. I mean,
that something like that can just never happen again.
No,
Never happen again.
Yeah. So I guess in that situation, it made us like the series a little more.
Yeah,
that particular thing, yeah.
Anybody got anything else?
It's hard to think of moments in games that to just totally like turn you off, though, right? I mean,
Yeah, for me it's sequels. Like, what sequel kind of went from I love this, I love these games to I'm never playing these games again.
We're talking like an Other M sort of situation here.
Oh, that's a good one.
That
whole game jumps the shark.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Does the whole game jump the shark, or is it just terrible?
Poor Metroid. Speaking of which, is it still on sale? Metroid Prime Trilogy.
It's still on sale.
Yeah,
$10.
yeah.
Wii U, go grab it for $10. $3 a
10
game.
bones.
Some good games there, including the first one, which is one of the best, in my opinion, one of the best games ever made. So
I never finished it.
Didn't you?
I finished it. No.
Well, now that it's
Now's your
$10,
chance.
this is a fine chance for you to not finish it again.
Okay. Yeah.
I smell Game Club coming on.
Oh,
Speaking
man.
of that, we the results of the poll are in, right?
Oh, yeah?
Oh,
What
are they?
are we doing?
Doing bully, of course.
Nice.
Are we really?
Oh, God. That's funny.
Cool.
Shrink wrapped. I still have that game shrink wrapped. Believe it or not.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Well, you know what, Rich? You should play it and come on the Game Club with us.
Ah,
Yeah.
I think that sounds
Perspectives
like a
from someone
great
who's
idea.
never played it before.
that'd be pretty good.
Yeah?
Love it. I'm in.
Because Mike won't play it. You know?
And I have it for the PS2, which then I could play on my. That won't play on the PS4, but I do have my PS3 still, and my launch day PS3, so that should work.
Damn, son.
There you go.
Jeez.
All right.
It's OG.
Crazy.
Won by 4 votes
Nice.
on our
But
Patreon
really?
poll.
Well, there are
More
only five people voted.
Ah, well, that's...
No, 45 total votes.
It's not bad.
So
Your vote matters, folks.
We forgot to mention this in the news section at the beginning of the show. But hacker alias Cursor TN sent in a question about him. What is the legacy of Andrew Yoon? So Andrew Yoon, if you're not familiar, he was an X game journalist, wasn't he? At this point,
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
making a card game that will actually be released in full next week.
yes, he passed away this week, drowned.
next month,
Yeah.
excuse me.
This week.
next
Ugh.
month.
Yeah, and I honestly, I can't say much about him because I didn't really know him. I didn't really know his
same
work.
here.
But
I didn't know him, but I had listened to him. I didn't know who he was before he started to go on the old Weekend Confirmed show. He was a
Mhm.
regular on that
Yeah.
show. And then recently he was on well, not recently, but in the past, I don't know, 6 to 9 months, he was on DLC, at which point I heard about his game called Divorce the Game, which is a card game, which everyone that I've spoken to, and I've spoken about 4 different people who have played it at various sort of events, have all said it's really good. So if anything, it can it will serve as a nice reminder of what you can do if you want to do something. You want to make something instead of talk about something. And it just takes a spark of creativity and a lot of hard work, and you can do it. To me, that's a really that's what I think about when I think of Andrew Yoon.
And I mean, you've just answered the question, really. I mean, at least he'll have something that people can remember him by.
Yep.
And how many game journalists have said that they have a great game in them, to actually go out and do it. So good for him. But terrible news, and of course, condolences to friends and family. That's an awful situation. Let's do one more. Hacker alias Herb Stone. Herb Stone? I know that CJ, Greg, and Phil worked at EGM and Ziff Davis at one point, but how did you guys meet Mike?
Wait, I thought he was your friend.
I thought it was when CJ was working at Babbage's, which I understand.
Showed up one day and never left.
He threw down that copy of Shelley Duvall's "It's a Bird's Life." I gotta return this. Yeah.
It was CJ's bachelor party in Vegas. We went to a strip club and Mike was the headliner. He was there. Yeah. One or two private dances later, and he's part of the show.
Yeah, there you go.
I'm just really glad you guys made that link to the private video. You sent it to me. I do appreciate it.
Yes. Well, you're a friend of the show too. You deserve to know. It's full disclosure. We're on Patreon now. We gotta be full. Full disclosure.
That's right. That's right.
Mike used to run a show called The Fanboys Lunchcast, which
Yes.
still remains, even although it hasn't been an episode in like 4 years or something like that. It hasn't been that long, but it's been quite a long time. Great show. That's how I knew him, and it was pretty much that show was introduced to me by CJ.
Yeah. Yeah, he's a podcast listener, and he joined our forums and began chatting, and then mentioned he had a podcast, and I started listening to that, and really enjoyed it. And especially the non-gaming talk is always good, always interesting. And then I met him. I had like a layover in Salt Lake after a PAX Prime, and went on their show, had a lot of fun there, and he just seemed to be the right voice for a fourth chair. So it was great.
I think he's worked out swimmingly.
He wasn't doing very many episodes of the Fanboys. That kind of figured out. So we were like, hey, come on. Greg Ford left.
And Mike was directly responsible for the Christmas songs we do every year.
That's true.
He was the one who got us to do the first one.
Yeah. And that's every year. Before he was on the show proper.
Yeah.
Before he was on the show. Yeah, that's one of my favorite stories. I think we told this on episode 300 when you hosted Rich. But, yeah, it's funny. If you have not heard episode 300, go back to that and listen to that. And I think that explains the origin of those.
Yeah. Very good stuff.
Yes.
And let's face it, we all recognize now, after all of the transitions and, the famous on-air firing of multiple personalities that you have all done, that real, true Player One podcast crew is clearly the three of you and Mike Phillips. The terrible things you say about Greg Ford, behind his back, off the air, no one will ever hear those. But wow, I was shocked to realize that he actually did not leave of his own accord.
Well, you got that private video as well, right?
I did.
Yes.
I did. And by the way, now I completely understand why Greg Ford can never be on any other show ever again.
Suddenly, we're not the bad guys.
Yep.
Yeah.
Amazing.
All right, and that is our show for this week. Thanks for listening. If you like what you heard and you want to comment on it, you can do so by going to playeronepodcast.com.
Really?
You can check out our... Can't you?
I mean, yeah, you can. That's not how I would say it, but yeah.
That's still a thing?
Oh, look. Can someone else host as long as they do it exactly the way I do it?
Yes.
playeronepodcast.com, where you'll find our blog, where, of course, our blog only has show notes unless I write something. You want to go learn about Microcosm on the Sega CD? Now's a good time. playeronepodcast.com.
That's right.
We also have a message board there with an amazing community of, well, mostly listeners. I think a lot of them don't listen at this point, but still a great community of people who talk about video games. Lots of video games and lots of other stuff. Other podcasts. How much we hate different video game websites. It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
You can also find us on Twitter at P1Podcast, the number 1. And you can get our show at that website or at the iTunes Music Store.
If you'd like to subscribe to the Player One Podcast, you can do so by visiting playeronepodcast.com or by going to the iTunes Music Store. While you're at the iTunes Music Store, you can also invest $1.99.
CJ?
Cheap.
Someone? There we go. To pick up the Player One Podcast iPhone application, gives you one-touch communication with us via the emails and the Twitters.
You did it.
What have you.
I'm gonna do it.
You also have all of our episodes ready to stream right to your listening device. And hey, Android cell phone, telephone users, the Player One Podcast iPhone application is available to your listening devices over that same $1.99.
CJ?
That's the same.
Cheap.
$1.99.
Cheap. Also cheap.
Also cheap.
Voicemails! Oh, you can find that right over there at the Amazon Android Marketplace. We're also on Stitcher. You can like us on Facebook. There's a Steam group you can join. We're on the YouTubes. You can watch archives of our past shows at youtube.com/P1 podcast. You can watch us live most weeks here on the YouTubes. Just follow that Twitter account to find out when we'll be doing next live show. Head over to our Patreon page and throw us some jingle.
Yeah.
What's the address for that page, CJ?
Patreon.com/P1 podcast.
Nice. Yes.
Yeah.
You can also send a little dinero Stewart's way to help fund the fantastic Generation 16.
Yeah, patreon.com/Generation 16.
Or in generation-16.com. and set that as your homepage.
And Phil, you'll be happy to know that all of the footage has been captured for episode 15, and the script has been written. I'm going to be recording the VO tomorrow and beginning the edit.
Out friggin' standing. Take advantage of this laid-off time to entertain me.
Yep, that's pretty much all I'm trying to do at this point.
Good. CJ?
Yes?
Happy Super Bowl.
Well, thank you.
Happy the big game to you. May your squadron win. Stuart?
Hi.
I see you watching.
Oh, I'm
game.
watching. I'm watching the Patriots.
I see you
Patriots suck.
eyeballing. Okay, well, may your Super Bowls always shuffle.
Thank you.
And a super special extra Grisham thanks to our good pal, Richie Grishy, for being here once again. We love you. We wish Mike would bail on us more often so we could have you around more. Thank you, Rich.
I am always happy to take on the role of grumpy old man.
Aww.
Happy to.
That's sweet.
Yes. Where can people find you on the internet, Rich?
Yeah, plug away.
Real quick, a certain somebody that we know named Greg Seward made an appearance on the latest episode of the Press Row podcast talking about things that you people do not allow him to speak about, namely...
his
NASCAR.
Racism.
Yeah.
You're almost right.
Yeah, he showed up on this week's episode to talk NASCAR, and so that was fun. And I don't know who's going to PAX East this year, but if you are, I am hosting a panel, and that is on Saturday, March 7th at 4:30 p.m. at the Bumblebee Theater, and hopefully, if I don't know if CJ, you and or Mr. Stewart will be there, but if either of you are there, we will hopefully get to go to dinner, and you're both invited to join the panel as well, if possible. So,
what's the panel about? I'm sorry.
Yeah.
It is about the sports games at a crossroads. So, basically what we started talking about a little bit. How they're played, what the model is going to be, and whether those of us who love them will be able to recognize them over the next few years.
Cool.
I don't think I'm going to PAX East anymore. So.
DJ, very qualified for that panel.
Well, he is ruining all of our games by making them free to play. So he's perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
what can you do?
Yes, that'll be fun.
Finn's about to break down my door, so we should go.
Yeah.
All right.
Thanks very much, Rich. Thanks everybody for listening.
Thank you, guys. Much appreciated.
See you all next week.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.